Mariners win 7-3. They take the second of the 3-game series against Atlanta. Series is tied at 1-1. They improved to 22-23 on the season. Let's talk about how it happened. Matt Olson, after Ronald Acuna's singles, which I think he's hitting like 800 for the first inning this season. It's absolutely stupid. But Matt Olson then blisters a home run to center field to make it 2-0. And if you were immediately thinking, uh-oh, congratulations, we were thinking the exact same thing. But Mariners bounce back in the fourth inning with the bases loaded. Taylor Trammell singles in Jared Kelenic. Jose Caballero hits a sacrifice fly to score Eugenio Suarez. And J.P. Crawford stings a single to right field to score Teoscar Hernandez to make it 3-2 Mariners. In the fifth inning, Eugenio Suarez hits a sacrifice fly to left. Teoscar Hernandez, who, again, has just been playing unbelievably good baseball lately, especially offensively, singles in Jared Kelenic to make it 5-2. In the seventh, it is great to see some good vibes. Eugenio Suarez just absolutely mollywops a baseball to center field to make it 7-2. Braves Atlanta does get a run in the eighth inning to make it 7-3, but that's all. That's all this year. That's game. That's baseball game. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest with you folks. Recording this video at 2:46, and you may not be able to tell it by my chipper voice. I am sick as you know what. This is not a fun day. Work till 10. I have to work at 7 a.m. I do not call in sick. It's partially because I'm an idiot and partially just because I feel responsibility. But yeah, that's the reason why this video is coming so late, because I've spent more time in a different room than this one. But that's how much I love you guys, and that's how much I want this to work. I'm recording this while I just feel like, yeah. Hope everybody else is feeling a lot better than me. Any negatives to start out with? Ty France had a really poor game. 0-for-5 with 3 strikeouts. Jose Caballero does drive in the run, but he got kind of worked in his other 3 at-bats. That wasn't great. Tom Murphy singled in his other at-bats. Okay, so he does ground into a relatively hard-hit double play. But, man, he just got absolutely destroyed in his other at-bats. And it does remind me, like, I get you don't want to overplay Cal Raleigh. He's got to play more. Cal Raleigh should be the starting catcher with a clear space between him and Tom Murphy. I don't know if it's something about, like, pitchers like working to him, if it's a clubhouse thing. I think the clubhouse clearly likes Tom Murphy. They can't hate him anyway. Cal Raleigh's a much better baseball player. He should be playing more. And I know the clubhouse likes Cal Raleigh, so I don't know if maybe there's some pitcher comfort stuff going on, or they're just trying to keep him fresh. I think Cal Raleigh's thumb is partly an issue here. But I really hope we see more of a 75-25 split, more than the like 60-40 that we've seen. And I might even be closer to like 55-45. I just really like Cal Raleigh. It's more of a compliment to him than insult to Tom Murphy. But Tom Murphy does not walk. You know, there is some power. He's handled left-handed pitching, but good right-handed pitching can just absolutely destroy him. And saw it for the most part tonight. Negatives for pitching. I will say this. Justin Topa has not looked good in these last 2 games. Tough lineups. And he's faced good hitters. But there's going to be some aggression there, folks. There's going to be, again, incredibly impressed with them. I think Topa can be a very solid middle inning guy. Better than that, even. Like that next step. He's just not my 8th inning guy for a playoff baseball team. But there's some regression going on here. I think that's it for negatives. Let's talk about how good Logan Gilbert was after that first inning. Because, look, he gives up a line drive base hit to Ronald Acuna. And again, Ronald Acuna in the first inning, I was being slightly hyperbolic about hitting 800. but it's up there. Right now, I'm not sure there is a better player in baseball than Ronald Acuna Jr. And it's been a nice reminder that some people kind of slept on this guy a little bit coming into the year. I get it, injuries and stuff. And the metrics don't love his defense. And he did make a bobble today that may have prevented a runner from getting to third, but it's tough to complain. But after giving up that hit and then that homer to Matt Olson, who I swear to goodness, the numbers that he has against the Mariners must be fake, because every time I watch this dude play, he's doing something against them. Very happy that he's no longer in the same division as the Seattle Mariners. But after that homer, and then he does give up a base runner right after, he settled down so nicely. They were calling what he was throwing a split. Pitches had an awful lot of slider movement to me, and it's maybe possible that he was throwing a slider with a splitter grip. Because AJ Pierzynski, who is not my favorite, if I'm being completely honest with you, but does know pitching, which, a lot of backstops do. Not a former pitcher, but a former catcher, and they deal with that quite a bit. He noticed that the pitches were being held with that splitter grip, but they didn't have splitter action. They had slider action. Whatever it was, I don't care, because it was a very effective offering. Really impressed with how well he settled down. It was big, because look, you'd lost 3 straight, and all of a sudden you're down 2-0 to, again, I keep saying it, one of the best teams in baseball. And you got to have a little bit of an uh-oh meter. Even if you are the most positive of positive people, there has to be something in you that kind of goes, well, but second inning on, as good as I've seen him pitch. Not saying something, because we've seen him pitch really well at times. Now, here's what I'm hoping we see. Been a while since I've seen Logan Gilbert follow that great start with another great start. Let's see him do that. I would be pleased as punch to see that. So, yeah, a ton of credit to Logan Gilbert. Offensively, look, Julio Rodriguez strikes out twice, but he draws 3 walks and sees a bunch of pitches. They were kind of giving Julio a hard time on that Fox broadcast today. And look, I get it, mostly because you're looking at the numbers and they are not where they should be right now for Julio Rodriguez. But I think they went a little too hard. But I think what he did today was really important, because, yeah, reaching 3 times is always great. But he made these relievers on a relief day work. And, yeah, it would be nice to see some hits over the fence. He's given plenty of that this year, but, or a couple doubles. He doubled last night. Guess that's 2 nights ago. But drawing walks is big, and making those relievers work was big. And I think Pierzynski made another good point that, look, we'll see how effective that bullpen will be. We will see. Really, really solid game from Julio, and he chased down a couple of he's such a good player. Even when he's not at his best, and he's clearly not at his best, he makes an impact in the game somehow. Jared Kelenic with a couple hits, scores a couple of runs. Great to see Suarez starting to drive the baseball again. I believe that's homers in 2 of 4 games, something along those lines. I will certainly take that. Taylor Trammell stung a base hit. J.P. Crawford, he's looked great at the top of that lineup. I love to see it. 3 reaches today. 377 on base percentage. Just I feel like a jerk pointing it out, but we have seen him get off to great starts and then falter. But he's still a young guy. This clearly could be the breakout season, and that's 252, 377, 345 don't exactly fit him for a jacket in Cooperstown. But it's workable. You can work with that. More than work with that. That is a strong player, especially since his defense has been, for the most part, pretty solid. I'd love to see him start taking away more outs, but he did have a little bit of a gaffe today where he didn't make the throw to first base. Who cares? Got the job done. Jared Kelnick with a couple of hits and scores a couple of runs, like I said. Teoscar Hernandez reaches twice. I'm starting to feel like he hit 6 today. I feel like he needs to be higher in the lineup. I don't know for who, because you're not moving Ty France from that second spot. And here's what I mean by that. Scott Service is not moving Ty France from that second spot. That's just not happening. I would hit Ty France 6th or 7th. But that's not happening. But we complain about this lineup. Having players like Teoscar Hernandez hit 7th, it's not so bad, man. It's not so bad. Wonder what maybe I'll do like an ideal lineup on a day where I don't feel like I'm knocking on the door of what. Good win. I think an important, significant win because losing 4 straight, guaranteeing a losing road trip, and look, they still have to win tomorrow to come away with the winning road trip. But I'll take 4 and 5. I will. It's not great that they didn't look good in 5 of these games, but 4 and 5 is not so bad. Can't do it a lot. You go 4 and 5 on all your road trips. Yeah. One of those days, folks. You go 4 and 5 on your road trips. That's 36 and 45. It's not great if you did that every time. I think a higher power is telling me to end this video, but I did want to make sure and get this video in before they played early this morning. It's currently 2:57 in the morning. Oh, by the way, Matt Brash was fantastic tonight. Does give up the single to Marcelo Zuna, who was just sitting slider. Did a nice piece of hitting. It wasn't a great pitch, but 3 strikeouts, 23 pitches, 16 of those strikes. Matt Brash is an important part of this team. And if you're just looking at the results, you're screwing up. You're screwing up because Matt Brash is a really good baseball player, really good pitcher, who I still look. If you asked me, if you had to do a set it and forget it right now, let's say Andre Munoz isn't available. My 9th inning guy is Paul Sewald. My 8th inning guy would be Matt Brash. Wouldn't bring him in as often as they have with runners on. I get why they do it. Again, the swing and miss stuff for this guy is so good that I totally understand the best way to get out of his jams is a strikeout, right? But the best way to create more damage is to bring in a guy with very poor control with runners already on. He's got to work more out of where he's comfortable starting an inning. And he certainly has had success in that pivot role too. Don't get me wrong. And goodness gracious knows that there's been a lot of weak contact that has resulted in hits. And I will probably never get over that home run by Kyle Tucker because I'm just so sick of how crappy umpiring is again. It was awful again today. Not so much in the Mariner game. It wasn't good, but around baseball, go look at this pitch that Mookie Betts struck out on the last. I can't do it. I can't do it. What do we got tomorrow? Other than a very tired Christopher Crawford, who works in exactly 4 hours now. Tomorrow we have George Kirby against Jared Schuster. That's kind of a fun one. Be really nice to win this one and then head into that 4-game series against Oakland that is followed by 3 games against Pittsburgh, who is not playing the same. By the way, George Kirby versus Mitch Keller is a really fun pitching matchup. Mitch Keller's good. That is Pittsburgh, and they've got some fun players too. But that's certainly their, I don't know what the right word is, their building block, at least for pitching anyway. That'll be a fun one. We'll talk about that more in 5 days, but I just noticed that, and that kind of jumped out. But Schuster's a pretty solid option. Mariners' internal clock playing at 10:35 in the morning. Not great, but very winnable game. Every game's winnable. They're all winnable. It would be great to come out of that Atlanta series with a win because you kill a lot of birds. You guarantee a series win. You guarantee a winning road trip, and you head into a series against a just gosh awful baseball team with a couple wins already, couple wins in a row. I'm trying my best to avoid the word momentum. It's such a silly phrase. Only time you should be talking about momentum is when you're pushing a tire down a hill. Your momentum's as good as your next day's starter. It's one of my favorite quotes. I don't know who said it. I don't care right now because I fear I have the flu. Shouldn't have the flu in May. Guess you can get it all the time, but I've got something. I'm not going to perish or anything, but it's going to be a long day for your boy. So if you believe in that higher power and want to offer some T's and P's, I certainly would appreciate it. You know what I'd really appreciate is if you hit like and subscribe and told your friends about this. I'd really like to get to 400 subscribers by the end of the month. I really thought we would have reached that because of how well we were doing in April, and that's okay. Stagnation happens. I'm not a well-known name. Some baseball folks know who I am. I'm not a superstar by any stretch of the imagination. But I would really appreciate if we could get that going. And remember, the winner's going to get a really cool baseball card that I don't have in front of me, but I like baseball cards, and I'd love to give you one, but we can't do it until we get to 400 subscribers. So yeah, that was one of my favorite games of the year. It's interesting that the last 3 times that's happened, the Mariners have gotten their you-know-what kicked. So let's see if that happens again. I sure hope not. I'm really sick.